Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry I'm so late. It's crazy late. Baby issues. And there's a baby behind me. I might have to pause for a minute and deal with that. We'll see. She's yawning. She's yawning up a storm while staring at her little mobile, so we'll see what happens. I might have to, step away or whatever, but I already have what I want to talk about pulled up here. Let's see. Give me a second. This live stream is actually still going right now. So let's talk about this. This is a guy named Barry Wunsch on Steve Schultz channel, a prophet of Trump, and they literally cry over Donald Trump and his holiness. It's wild. Let's give this a listen, see what they have to say. By the way, Barry Wunsch has Tourette's, I believe. Every now and then you'll see one of his Tourette's outbursts. Can't blame him. I have OCD, and I do weird shit sometimes, too. That's just what it is, right?
Barry, my friend Barry, how are you doing?
Hi, Steve-O. I'm doing okay.
Steve-O?
Very honored to be here with you again today.
Well,
Did he say very honored to be here?
Steve-O, I'm doing okay. Very honored to be here with you again today.
Well, the honor is mine, and that was an amazing word. I mean, I wasn't going to bring Lori on until she told me that story just a little bit before the show, and I said, "You got to come on and do that," So,
bro, there's nothing that frustrates me more than two people with microphones that are different volumes. I feel like you should figure that shit out before you get on air, right?
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, I mean, it just wrecked me. Steve, what she was talking about, actually, it kind of fits into a word the Lord gave to me for you to share today. And
he's already crying.
I mean, I don't know that I've ever maybe, done one quite like this with you before.
Okay.
But I was taken into the Spirit a while ago, probably last week, I guess it would have been, Steve, and there you were. And, I saw that the Lord had given you, a few special assignments and some in progress and yet, some to come. And I saw the Lord standing with you, and there was a great big trunk on the floor in front of you. And it was kind of like one of those old,
like an elephant trunk?
Big trunks that, the explorers and the pioneers used to use.
My grandparents had one of those.
Oh, he's talking about like a drawer, like a thing you put stuff in. Okay. And this is a prophetic dream?
Yeah. So it was like that. But this one was clearly yours, and it was exceptional because it was pure gold.
Wow.
He's literally crying over this ridiculous dream where we are 30 seconds in, and he's crying over some ridiculous dream he had, some prophetic dream.
And as it opened up, I saw inside it that there were projects that you were actually called to release and steward for the nations. And, the first thing I saw was there was a book. And this book was very personal. It was very transparent. It would have taken a lot of courage to actually put it out there with the vulnerability. But the most intimate parts, but yet.
This is so weird, bro. Why?
As it was shared, it brought so much healing and so much deliverance, to so many. And then I saw, there were movie reels, and I know they don't probably use film anymore. I know they probably don't.
But I know the idea, though. A film is a film, right?
No, I think they do use those still. Do you know that film reels are in 4K? Like film that was recorded back in the 80s or the 90s or whatever. Or no, not the 90s. I'm sorry. The 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s can be produced in 4K because of just the nature of the material.
A film is a film. So I saw these, like, these big, reels of film, and you know and there was documentaries, there was, I think your personal story was there was this, deep Holy Spirit content, and they were also all pure gold. And so, there were other books. There were actually a bundle of maps, and maps as to where to go and where to drill.
There's the Tourette syndrome. Yeah, I'm sorry he has to deal with that. That's probably really hard. I'm genuinely impressed that he became a right-wing extremist influencer with Tourette syndrome. I wouldn't have imagined that would have been possible in the right-wing sphere, with how shitty they are to everybody around them.
Wells, and there were maps as to go in and how to help, basically stop rescue the trafficking, and these kind of things in the integration of this. And they were,
bro, listen to what he's saying right now. He's saying Steve was on a mission in his dream to stop child trafficking, like the QAnoner he is. Yes, he's QAnon.
Up, kind of almost like a surveyor's map. And I mean, there was another bundle that was actually network platforms and broadcasting that you were given to touch and lead the nations. I mean, what was there was just fantastic. And as I looked at it, it multiplied in front of my eyes in the chest, just like loaves and fishes. It was like, holy smokes. And it was all just the purest of gold. So I was looking at this trunk on the floor.
Yeah, pioneers used to ride these babies for miles. I love that joke. That's a really good SpongeBob joke.
And I noticed that there was oil on the floor.
Really?
And I'm looking a little closer, and I'm not talking just a little bit. I'm talking, there was a lot.
But you just noticed it? Okay.
And as I looked a little closer,
The dream physics.
everything that was within that trunk was so saturated.
He's literally crying over this ridiculous, stupid dream.
With the Holy Spirit on it, that it was actually leaking out and just spilling out all over the floor. And so, and I knew by the Spirit of God, I could see that you were under the most vicious and ferocious attack by the most demonic principalities and powers that were coming against you and coming against what you were stewarding.
Oh, fucking please, dude. You're telling me you think that Steve Schultz is being persecuted right now by Satan, who's trying to prevent him from saving the children or some shit? Please get help.
Bring liberty and freedom to the nations. and to people, and like little girls in Uganda walking for water. So I'm seeing this, and so the Lord showed up, and not only was he turning the tables, but he was flipping them. And the voices of the accusers shall be silenced.
Wow.
And because you haven't, because how you steward yourself with him, actually he's looking out for you. And so as I was watching this, the Lord walked up to you, Steve, and his hands were just dripping with oil.
What a weird, nonsensical dream. So he fancies himself like Daniel then, right? He thinks he's like Daniel from the book of Daniel, giving Nebuchadnezzar dream interpretations or some shit, except he's interpreting his own dreams.
And he reached into your chest. And
sounds hot.
He began to massage your heart.
Sounds hot.
My goodness.
And the love of God was so powerful and so tangible. And he was massaging.
It's so painfully stupid, dude. Oh my God. It's so embarrassing and painful.
And life and everything just back into you. And places, and the hits that you've taken that no one sees. He came and he massaged and he healed and he restored. And the oil on his hands, it not only did it saturate.
Wait, are we talking like crude oil? Are we talking like dinosaur remains oil, that kind of thing? Or do you mean like olive oil? Because I was imagining crude. Like, oh my God, what's the word? Petroleum based. Petrochemicals or whatever. That's what I was imagining. You talking about olive oil? Massaging his heart? Once again, sounds hot.
Your heart and everything, but it literally just, it went through your whole body. And this empowerment of his love and healing touch was just so powerful. And I knew, Steve, that you would never be the same. And with
But Steve wasn't the one that had this dream. You were. So were you the one that was changed by seeing this guy get his heart massaged by God?
him, there would not be anything left undone. And that which he's begun in you, he will finish, and he will resource, and he will do what he needs to do to make it come to pass. So it will bring freedom, deliverance, and healing and salvations throughout the nations.
Wow, that's
Literally crying right now. He's borderline sobbing. What the fuck? This is so weird. These people are so goddamn fucking weird. Why are they like this? I only saw like 5 minutes of this before the stream, and I knew this is the one I had to cover today.
that's such a. Go ahead. I didn't mean
And so I just say, Steve, you're a much loved son. You're a much loved brother.
It's so fucking painful and cringy, bro. Please stop.
You are a father to the nations. His hand is clearly upon you, and you are a conduit for the Lord because he can trust you. Like you gave your full surrender beyond, and it's cost you far more than anyone will ever know.
Wow.
But because of your humility to walk in it and steward it like that, he can trust you. And so I honor you. And I would just say, to those that watching, I mean, if there's a resonance of this within you,
Literally crying over some stupid prophetic dream, bro.
I would just call you to just, do a love offering to these guys.
Oh wow.
Do a love offering, bro. He is laying it on thick right now, okay? The end conclusion to your prophetic dream from God is give me money.
Thank you.
And to do, and what they're doing here is no small thing. It's literally changing the nations. So anyway, I submit that to you. I
Well,
mean,
thank
didn't
you.
know I
Barry.
was-
Yeah, no, that's that. Not at all. And that's so kind. I mean, there's no words, Barry, to say thank you. I mean, it's people don't know. You probably know a little bit about it, but I mean, this has been a year and a half in the last year. This has been like 5 years in a year, and that physical stuff I got hit physically, and like 3 or
These people really need help. Like, genuinely, what the fuck? I thought about it as somebody who studies cults and studies World War II extensively, written 2 books about World War II. World War II era brainwashing, like controlling the German people and what percentage of the people were true believers and things like that. After studying that for so long, I think there's a kid behind me kind of chirping, like that. Anyway, I think the way you stop or the way you unbrainwash people is you unplug the propaganda. A dictatorship needs a propaganda arm to succeed. No dictatorship exists without a propaganda arm. I mean, look at North Korea. They control information fully and completely. Look at Germany. They controlled information fully and completely. In the U.S., they don't control information, but Fox News is the propaganda arm for the Republican Party. They are state media at this point. It's disturbing as hell that we have such a thing in the United States. After all this is said and done, how do we fix this problem? How do we unplug the brainwashing of all of these people? In my opinion, you reinstitute the fairness doctrine, which Reagan got rid of, I believe, which basically said you have to, for any candidate that you speak of on the news, you have to speak about the other candidate as well. Anything positive, you have to give positive coverage to the other. Anything negative, the other gets negative coverage as well. And that pushed people to report things more objectively. I think that's how we do it. She's getting upset. Let me give her a pass fire. Hang on. She doesn't want it. She's tired as the dickens. I think she's going to go to sleep in a minute.
3 or 4 different areas was like this happened. And I felt like it was Job. Then they said this went wrong. And so I would be missing episodes and getting my back, worked on because there's a major thing. All these different things, including some issues with my heart, which I think I recently mentioned to you. But this is why that word is so powerful and encouraging to me, because I just said, Lord, I just want to be made whole. And there were certain things that he said to me and he gave me some certain songs where the lyrics were telling me, he goes, I've met the need of your heart. There's a lyric in there. And
met the meat of your heart. What a bizarre thing to say to somebody.
It was just days ago. And I knew that I couldn't have thought that song up because it was from the 60s, when I heard that song. And then there's another line in that same song that the Savior made me whole. And of course, song's probably talking about salvation. But
bro, this is the kind of, the kind of QAnon searching for things, searching for secret meanings and hidden messages that absolutely destroys somebody's mind.
This was the prayer. It's like, can this many things go wrong with the body? And then there was a circulating rumor that Steve was no longer cognizant and could not make his. It's crazy. And I think not only was I being hit from multiple areas, but now they're making up stuff. I'm not saying they. Whoever started that.
I don't believe anybody made that up. I think you made that up, Steve.
Remember that Steve is not cognizant of, it's crazy. I've always been that, but anyway. But hey, thank you so much. I probably should let you get going on this, but.
So I left up the live chat along the right side there, as you can see. Out of curiosity, I want to scan through. Let's see what they say. Please help us continue to provide fresh water. Do you have an amazing testimony of God's goodness, healing, financial blessing? Go to elijahstreams.com/testimonials. What was that noise at the beginning? A high-pitched note at a dB level dangerously high to damage hearing. It was Satan secretly getting your consent to propagandize to you in this show. Yeah. Turns out that this guy actually works for Satan. And Satan needs your consent to do things. So he gives you his whole terms of service in a single fraction of a second, and it sounds like a single chirp is the problem. So good job. You just got Sataned.
I do appreciate that. By the way, you guys do this. Maybe if you can put that banner up. They had the donate links and see, since both.
Oh my God.
Yeah, just kind of leave that up for a few minutes so people can say, well, I'd like to do that. Barry said that. And
this is vile. Like, I get on here and I ask people to sign up to my Patreon, but there isn't a religious mandate to do it. Okay, people can't refuse these types of things. Even if they can literally refuse, emotionally, he just grabbed their hearts and massaged them with crude oil. Okay, people can't separate fact from fiction in these situations. He's taking advantage of people. People donate to me of their own free will. It's not the case with these people. I think she's right there. She's right there. She's ready to go out. She's going, she's out right now. We'll see if that holds. I don't think she's out. I think she's chosen to go to sleep, so her eyes are shut. And maybe that'll hold, as long as I don't yell. Can't yell. Okay.
Lori said that you can go to that link, and there's other ways when you go there to do it.
Okay, we're jumping forward. Thank you for the donation link.
And that same kind of thing. Well, you said it. You Lord.
So, well, Barry, I should let you get going. You've got a lot of revelation to share. So
What? That was the end?
thank you so much. I appreciate that. So
He was just going to share, like, how much God loved this dude, and then he's going to leave? Really?
Oh, well, thank
Yeah.
you, Steve. Thank you. And I just pray that Lord, you would just overshadow this, and Lord, you
Yeah.
would breathe on
Are
everything
you saying an impromptu prayer?
that you have here today,
yeah, please
that
do.
it may accomplish the purpose in which you set it forth to do.
Thank you, Lord.
In
Yeah.
Yeshua's name.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, Steve, I'm going to tell you, there's warfare. I mean, we're living in that same kind of thing the last few months. It is
Is that
just been
right, Barry?
unreasonable. And there's days where, you know, it's just hard to kind of move. And I mean, we're in some very crazy places right now doing some, you know, really crazy things behind the scene. And the Lord's hand has just been
Knock me over with a feather. Crazy, you say? You're in crazy places doing crazy things? Barry Wunsch? No, I don't buy it. I refuse to accept that you're doing crazy things.
on us. And I mean, we're so thankful, you know, that it's up to him and it's not up to us.
Yeah.
But the other day, you know, and I was just going around my day, and the Lord, he said, there's a new sound of freedom, liberty.
Knocked out like a light. When I talk, I'm not sure that's going to hold. It seems to be. I just can't yell. Which I do from time to time. We'll see.
Going around my day, and the Lord, he said, there's a new sound of freedom, liberation, and deliverance being released throughout the nations.
Yay.
Sound of Freedom, that famous QAnon movie that, like, apparently did really well at the box office, unexpectedly.
And as I heard this, it was like it was dropped into my spirit, and it felt like a tuning fork was dropped into me. And immediately I was brought into tune with the Father in the most deep and intimate way. And I knew at that moment that there were things within me that had been out of resonance with him. And there were frequencies within me that were just needing to be fine-tuned and adjusted a little bit, you know, for an alignment and in sync with him for what he's releasing and what he's doing right now. And I mean, I'm telling you, it felt magnificent, like it really did. And so there was a clarity that came, and empowering, you know, just a fresh understanding and resolve. I mean, it's hard even to put it all into words, but I also knew that he was doing this throughout the earth.
You know, I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about this. I play the guitar, And I never thought about getting a fork, a tuning fork. I mean, I had this problem where I couldn't get a tuner, a proper tuner at one point. I couldn't find one. Come to think of it, I could just get a single fork and tune the whole guitar to the single note, right? That would be better. Interesting. I had never considered that, the value of a single fork, because if you get an instrument tuned for a single note, you can tune the rest of the instrument to the other notes. And it feels like that would probably be even better anyway, right? Because the whole thing is in tune. Anyway, sorry, just an aside.
Among his people.
Wow.
And
Now, was that, by the way, that was a vision for him, or how did that come to you? Is that?
yeah,
Wow.
This is not just a stupid dream he had. This is a full-blown, legit, actual vision, religious vision that he was given. Okay, got it.
it did.
That's profound.
And the next thing I find myself, I'm up in the spirit over the United States of America.
Okay.
And from where I was, it seemed to be kind of somewhere in the Northwest.
Okay.
And I'm looking over the nation, and I see these angelic hosts and divisions being deployed, to and from the USA, not only throughout America, but also, throughout the nations.
Yeah.
And there was a light that was growing stronger by the day in America. And this light, the only way I can kind of explain it is it was kind of pulsing. It was kind of pulsing, like a heartbeat,
Yeah.
and in sync with the Father. And so there were parts of the nation that were much brighter, than other places in the nation. And as I watched, this heart of the Father beat, the light spread. And now there were places that had real darkness. And it looked to me like sometimes if people have a heart attack and there's part of the heart that's damaged, and it's not beating right or it's not functioning right.
Been a while since I was here watching. I just want to say congratulations on the baby. Good luck on her sleep schedule. Wait. Also, thanks for streaming. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming. Got the BB in the background. Spelled BB, 2 letters next to each other. Got the BB sleeping. Maybe not. Oh, she twitched. She's okay, though. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
I saw this actually in the nation where there was some heart damage, and the nation, was coming, into and coming through some very deep healing.
Wait, the nation had this heart damage? Is that what he said?
A recovery was in process. And if I had to put a number on it, I'd say that 80%, was actually pretty, gaining strength and getting stronger. But
the country is 80% gaining strength and getting stronger.
There was still kind of a hard 20% that still needed some help to kind of work through things.
I get the impression he's saying Trump supporters make up 80% of the country. Is that what he's saying? I think it is. All notes at the same note. Oh, oops, all C's. Yeah, but if you can get one string on a guitar, yeah, okay, I guess a tuner would make sense for a piano. I was thinking guitar. If you can get a note tuned on the guitar, you can tune every other string on the guitar. That's what I was thinking. But I don't know how to play the piano, so anyway.
So I'm watching this, and then there's ministry.
I'm sorry, one more thing. By the way, don't knock one-note instruments. Have you guys ever heard one-note instruments before? Let me show you. Oh my God, dude, YouTube. Fuck. Here.
It's a bamboo flute playing only one note. That's the only note you can get out of that flute. But the pygmies, who are the inventors of this flute, are clever people. And I'm glad to tell about the pygmies around the world, because when I was a boy, a little boy, they taught me that the pygmies were savage people just because they live in the forest, which isn't true. You know, it's not just because you live in the forest that you're a savage man or a savage woman. Uh, savage people, to me, live elsewhere than in the forest. They usually live in cities.
Okay, I appreciate that. That's actually on point.
But this is another problem, another question. The pygmies have invented a fabulous musical technique or instrumental technique, which consists in having a conversation with their own instrument. You know, the technique is very simple, but someone had to find it out, and they did. You ask the flute to speak to you, and the flute says something like, and you reply to the flute by saying, and all the music you can make with this flute is a conversation between man and his own musical instrument. I think this is interesting, and I underline this and point it out, because not everywhere in the world you can find this characteristic of music production. For instance, I can play. Using the same technique. You know, I'm teaching you how to do it. You should pay me for teaching you. And I usually beat my, who made the train?
I love this dude.
And these trains are not even what they used to be. They have no engine. Oh.
It's interesting because every time he pats his chest, he's getting a different sound out of himself, right? Anyway, I just thought it was interesting. One, oops, all C's, not so bad, is it? All right, let's continue.
So I'm watching this, and then there's ministering angels. You know, I saw basically being dispatched to minister to those that were maybe just that they really needed it. And not only did these angels bring healing, but they also brought new mindsets.
Is he still telling us about a dream? I think he is, right? A prophetic dream?
You know, kind of displacing, you know, mindsets that
knocked the fuck out.
New mindsets, you know, kind of displacing, you know, mindsets that were counter kingdom. So this new sound would set his children free, as well as anchor them into the fullness of beloved identity. And this was rerouted in his children. And I mean, it really started to change things for the nation. And then I'm watching, and there were angels of deliverance, and they were showing up, and they had boots on the ground, and they were actually gathering things that were not of the Lord. I mean, they were destructing evil. They were destructing, you know, demonic structures in the nation, and bringing things to light and rooting them out. I mean, we've been seeing this happen, and that's only, you know, you think, are we ever going to get through this? Well, we are, and the Lord is actually, you know, ramping this up even more.
Can you clarify before you go on? And
Yeah.
you said destructing, I think you meant deconstructing.
Deconstructing.
Yeah,
Yes.
you said there were angels of deliverance, so they're officers with boots on the ground. They're gathering.
Yes.
They're gathering that which was not of the Lord. They're going to the bad guys, deconstructing
evil.
and demonic structures in the nation. And were they
Yes.
delivering people when you say that, or how
They
does
were
that?
they were delivering people. They were delivering people out of systems within the justice system, within the educations, within the bedrock of the nation,
Yeah,
that were undermining things and
yeah.
making pathways for the enemy to come and cause disturbance.
Not the enemy.
You know what I'm going to say? You know, those kind of things. I mean, it was heavily integrated work, to be sure, and but yet these angels. I mean, it was being done with such great care, and I'm say surgical precision. Well, I'm taken
Wow.
there, and you know, into this
Okay, it sounded like he was about to cry again. Is that what's going to happen here?
spirit, and I'm brought to a table, and there was an angelic host that was gathered around a strategic table. There was a global map. President Trump was there, other U.S. leaders, and some of his administration, and there were actually ecclesia leaders and
Yeah.
advisors.
And real
And
quick,
Ecclesia leaders and advisors. So religious leaders is what he means by that. Interesting.
Yeah.
my apologies for interrupting, but when you said you were taking it, have we now then changed and you are actually now being transported in the spirit? Is that okay?
Yeah.
I want to make sure
Yes.
people
Yeah.
get that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now I find myself a new place. It's like, you know, and here I'm in this room,
Okay.
and
Wow.
then this table, and you've got the president, other, you know, administration, U.S. leaders, ecclesia advisors, and surrounding them. These angels were looking over their shoulders at what these guys were doing,
Hmm.
and they were integrated, and so there was, you know, a strategic plan and briefing kind of going on, and my sense was it was involving economic strategies for shutting down finances into and through, you know, cabal, deep state.
God, it's so, like they use these words unironically. It's so painfully fucking stupid, dude. Oh my God.
Globalist leaders, structures, in addition to the preparation for the golden age.
This is the very golden age that Trump's been announcing. I'm guessing you're talking about.
I'm telling you, I mean,
Trump's been announcing a golden age. Well, he's doing a piss poor job of it.
with what's
Yeah.
to come, I mean, they were getting some stuff out of the way, so this had to pass
He's literally making things worse. How the fuck could Trump be introducing a golden age? What are you talking about?
to come and do what it, you know,
Wow.
it could be implemented.
Wow.
And so, you know, there were these, you know, the globalist, you know, cabal leaders. I mean, they're not going to be
Globalist, Trotskyite.
able to carry on as they have been, as the Father was about to empty their war chest. And to be clear, the path for the wealth of the wicked to be put into the hands of the righteous were in place.
Oh yeah, they also believe that the wicked, aka people who are not QAnoners, are going to lose all of their money, and it's going to be given to these scumbags here.
And now, just a matter of timing. And so, I'm, you know, I'm taking this all in, and then again, you know, I'm taken into the spirit, and I see evil kings falling, and I
Evilkins, I love it. Evilkins, like otherkin, where people believe they have the soul of a wolf, but they're evil instead. They have the soul of an evil, not a wolf. Evilkins.
see cabal ran and controlled governments falling. I saw nations starting to tip over like dominoes through the earth, and the Father basically making a way for righteous kings to take their place.
Can you clarify on that when you say the nations are starting to tip over? Does that just mean everything's turning topsy turvy in their country, but there's all is changing from bad to good? What do you mean when
Well,
you say it's tipping
well,
over?
I'm saying that the destabilization in the nations
Okay.
that were run by, you know, people that didn't have the best intentions or were
Okay.
connected into the darkness,
Yeah.
you know, they were actually, you know, tipping over, you know, and the
And is he still describing a dream? I think he is, right? He's describing a dream currently.
and the balance of power was soon to be, you know, out of their hands,
Okay.
you know, and
Yeah.
so I saw, you know, President Trump and they were kind of leading the way. they were helping with their influence. They were helping by the, you know, by the Spirit of God, really. And I saw Canada. I saw Mexico. I saw Australia, New Zealand.
Oh my God, dude. He's literally crying right now. This is the 5 minutes that I saw before stream that convinced me I needed to watch the whole fucking thing. This is sad.
And I saw the UK. I saw Iran. I mean, there were others, but these.
It looks like he has his Tourette's under control, which mad respect to him for that. That's impressive. Absolutely. I'm proud of him for that. What the fuck is wrong with you? Okay, there is something not right in your brain if you say shit like this. Genuinely.
Were kind of the prominent ones I saw, where the Lord was coming in a time and a change of seasons, and he was pulling kings out, and he was putting righteous kings in.
So I know you said Canada, and you started to lose it there because you're from Canada. So you're jumping into.
Bro, he's got a little. He's got Canadian flags behind him. So what does this thing say behind Canadian hammer? Canadian hammer? Canadian hammer, Barry Wunsch. He fancies himself a hammer. Okay. And why does he have 2 Canadian flags? Interesting. All right.
That your country's going to be saved, sounds like to me. And Mexico, Australia, UK, and Iran, that's good news for Iran. In the UK too. I mean, UK seemed lost to me until with this word.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I think that, you know, once it starts to go, you know, there's going to be, you know, not an inertia.
You know what this reminds me of, genuinely? Low Kirkenuanly, as the kids say these days. In all seriousness, it reminds me of the exit videos from Heaven's Gate. Heaven's Gate, this group that checked out together, all of them, all 39 of them, on, I believe, March 27th, 1996. And they made this video beforehand explaining what they wanted the world to know before they checked out. Here, this is really heartbreakingly sad right here. It was a Star Trek cult. They saw Star Trek and they thought that the world outside of Earth really was like Star Trek. They designed their outfits and everything like Star Trek. And this woman's final statement to the world before checking out was...
He asked, and we'd like to let you know that he's had an eye on you. And we want to let you know that you might need to get someone else to finish up your website right now.
That's how they made money. They made websites for people.
And that we might see you all again, and then we might not. But we hope that you remember us as we were, and not how other people are going to try and tell you that we are. And one last thing we'd like to say is 39 to beam up. Thank you.
How fucking sad is that shit? I'm telling you, when I listen to Barry Wunsch and Steve Schultz say the things that they say, it reminds me of Heaven's Gate. When I hear them say that shit, it makes me think of what Heaven's Gate was, what they believed, and who they were. That should be disturbing to everybody, right?
But the Lord is actually, you know, because there's an interconnectivity, you know, within. See, the demonic realms are like a web, like a net, and they really do interconnect. So, I mean, this is already a lot. The next thing, you know, I'm taken into the spirit onto a mountain, and I saw a lion, but this wasn't any ordinary lion. This was the Lion of the tribe of Judah.
He's literally crying over that. Is this not identical to Heaven's Gate?
And he was on top of the mountain and he began to roar. I mean, he really began to roar over the mountains. And,
Not pretend roar, but for real roar?
first he'd turn this way and he'd roar. And then
An R-O-A-R, not an R-A-W-R?
he would turn that way and then he'd roar. And then he kind of rested for a minute. And it was like he went everything from deep down within him. And he faced down onto the land, onto the mountain, and he began to roar into the earth and roar into the earth. And it was deafening. And the sound of his roar shook the mountains. It shook the nations. It shook and it penetrated the land. And as he roared into the earth, I knew that this sound would be heard and felt, throughout the nations.
Gee.
This is so sad, dude. Genuinely. Is this not identical to Heaven's Gate? Really? This is absolutely a cult, right? How could anybody see it as anything else? I don't understand how Trump supporters can look at fellow Trump supporters and see them doing shit like this and not believe that it's a cult.
And so Steve, like always, I'm making my notes and I'm kind of cleaning them up. And the Lord spoke to me and he said, Barry, tell my people that there's a new sound throughout the earth.
Yeah.
It is a sound of freedom. It is a sound of liberty. It's a sound of deliverance for my people.
People saying in the chat accurately that he's deeply delusional. He is like not even as delusional as some of the others on this show. That's what is so incredibly wild about this show. He's like on the reasonable end. Seriously. Look at Kat Kerr. Hold on. I'm sorry, hang on 1 second. Sorry, I'm trying to fix something. If you give me just a second here. Trying to find Kerr. Hang on, I'm looking for one of the really crazy ones.
And I tell people, when people pass.
Wait. You know what? Let's go with this one.
I have seen them hauling in the enemy, which are other demonic. I've seen them in chains being hauled away up to the courtroom of heaven.
God.
If I ever find that picture, you'll be the first people to get it. I'll show it.
What picture?
I have a picture of the demons in chains being hauled off.
What? How did you get that picture?
I took it.
She's so full of shit, bro. So full of shit. Every word out of her fucking mouth is nonsense. And people buy this. Trump supporters buy this.
On the earth.
Were you in a meeting or where were you?
I was at my home.
So
when you command an army from heaven,
as Kat Kerr does,
that's what, in 2017, that started happening. The scroll for the host was opened, and that was when we were allowed to be in the command the hosts.
Yes.
And I did, and I started with 100, and that's what the father came and taught me in person how to do this.
The Father came and taught me in person how to do this. In person. He did it in person. She knows she's lying. This is intentionally deceiving people, right? Or she needs to be in a mental institution genuinely. One or the other. Like I said, Barry Wunsch is not the craziest. Okay, there are even crazier ones out there. Oh, shit, I wanted to watch this. I completely forgot. We're going to watch that in a minute. But Barry Wunsch is deeply entertaining.
Barry, tell my people, do not fear. Do not be afraid. Barry, tell my people that I'm putting things in place, but not to be revealed until the proper time. For I'm going to rebuild ruined city and desolated nations. And
He's crying. He's literally crying right now.
I'm putting into place people agreements and arrangements that you know not of. You've never seen anything like them.
Wow.
Biblical in nature and 1,000 year
Damn, I'm sorry he's got to deal with that.
agreements ordained of God. Right?
Can you pause there for a second? What does that mean? 1,000-year agreements or day? What does that mean? Do you know that?
I believe, Steve, that what is being set and the stage that is being set, into the golden age.
I'm wondering if he controls his Tourette's to the best degree that he possibly can until he gets into talking about prophecy. And then he starts like letting the tics out to kind of make it seem like he's something special. Is that what's happening here? Because at the beginning of this, there were no tics at all for like 30 minutes. I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading into it.
And into the transfers of what we're looking at. There's actually structure that's being put in place in a tangible way.
Wow.
That is actually that big. It's actually that big, and they've got, and the resource to do it is that big. So, and then he says, I've told you that I'm bringing the restoration of all things, and I mean it. This is another move out of my great love and grace for my people, and nothing less. For generations shall dance in the streets, celebrating all that I've done, setting the captives free. And this is the sound that is upon you. So embrace it with me and watch the winds of change blow throughout the nations.
Now I see that's the end of that because I'm following.
Watch the wind of change. Okay.
Along with you. I'm going to go back to that one more time about the 1,000-year agreements because people say, I don't get it. I heard a prophet. He's never been in our program, so it's not anybody that is part of Elijah Stream's prophets or anything. Years ago, probably 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and I heard him say, the Lord told me we need to start building homes or places. I think he meant homes or churches or places that would last 1,000 years. And I thought, what?
Wow. Could you signal to could you signal to a higher degree that you are adjacent to Nazi beliefs? That is literally what the Nazis believed. They believed in 1,000-year Reich. Believing in 1,000-year whatever doesn't really mean anything necessarily. It's just weird. It's just coincidence. And as these people say, there are no coincidences, right?
Wow. So I didn't know if this that you're referring to is talking about we need to have agreements. We will be having agreements that will last 1,000 years on earth, or if you know anything more about what that phrase means, 1,000-year agreement.
Yeah. My sense, Steve, is what the Lord is doing and locking in for us. We've been so controlled, for eons, and the freedom that the Lord is bringing. Does it tie into Jubilee? Perhaps. Yeah. I think it's that good.
If you don't know what Jubilee is, it's this thing in the Old Testament where they used to forgive debts every 7 years, and every 7 times 7 years there would be this big celebration. Every 49 years, basically, there'd be a celebration, a Jubilee celebration. 7 was a special number in the Bible.
Wow.
I think what is coming is so good that as we come and we see, the Father bring and restore all things, restore family, restore, economics, restore, the governmental, godly, like these are the things that he's coming and he's establishing throughout the earth. And so anyway, it's actually, I think a pretty big deal.
Okay. All right. Now you've got something July 15. This is a different encounter, right?
Yeah. This one, Steve, I've been sitting on this. Like I haven't published, like we've been quite, busy and things. And this one, like sometimes the Lord will say, release it, boom, and I do, and sometimes we don't. But anyway, this one, I did feel it was time to release it. And so this one, I'll just say this prophetic encounter opened up with me in a location that seemed to me like it was the most hidden and protected places in the earth.
Okay.
And initially, I was brought, deep underwater, under ice and water, into actually an underwater development of sorts.
Okay.
And I found myself in a large underwater cavern that served as a docking station where submarines could surface and come into this dock, into this cavern that was like an open airlock.
Okay.
And
Okay, an open air airlock? Is that even a coherent thing to say?
and so there was submersible craft, there that, like submarine stuff coming in and out. But there was one that I'd never seen anything like it before, and it was kind of in the shape of a triangle,
A craft kind of?
just a perfect little triangle.
What the fuck is he talking about?
Okay.
And I just knew by the Spirit that this thing could move as fast in the air as it could under the water.
Oh, my goodness.
What I mean?
Well,
I don't
I'm
know
sort of picturing, I don't know if it's actually a triangle, but I'm not saying it's this, but those B-2, those invisible to radar aircraft that kind of look like a flying wing. That's kind of a triangular shape. Is it? Maybe it's like that, only it's a submersible something.
Yeah, I mean,
What is wrong with these fucking people, bro?
I never this was like a technology, I don't think we've seen, and so I did know that this was perhaps one of the best kept international secrets, and I knew by the Spirit of God that they'd made discoveries there that had brought knowledge and understanding that when it was released, it was actually probably bend our minds and our understanding, of things, many things.
Okay. In this location, you're
In this
saying
location, yeah.
there existed discoveries that had been developed or something, and that
Yes.
someday is going to be released. That
Yes.
we'll be able to know about or something.
Yes, it was like a base of sorts,
Okay.
research development, that kind of a thing.
Okay.
And they were working kind of, pushing the very boundaries, but they did come, like they had some stuff they'd found. And they had found, in fact, so it was a hub,
I'm so goddamn lost.
where they had scientists and researchers, and they actually found new, like, elements that were new to man,
Really?
that held properties in them for technologies that we just didn't know existed. And so the discovery of these elements were in the hands, in the right hands, would greatly benefit mankind. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
However, at this moment, it didn't appear that they were in the right hands.
Okay, they're in the wrong hands right now.
They were in the wrong hands.
I mean, think about what this dude is saying right now. He is prophesying from God himself that he knows this secret information from God. What the fuck?
Okay.
And so, they've been intentionally protected.
I'm going to let it play for a second, and I'm going to move her into the other room. Where are we? I have to write this. God, I can't. Shit. This is a live stream that's currently going right now, and I can't. Let me see if I don't remember if I built in the live stream download functionality in Briefcase or not. I think I was messing with it, and I don't remember if I actually put it in. Let's see if it downloads. It appears to be downloading. Or maybe not. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. These people genuinely need help. Like, seriously. I think we might see another Heaven's Gate situation in the future. I feel like I missed some of what he said, and I would really like to have it. Oh, it downloaded. Oh, beautiful. So I did work in the streaming thing. Okay. I'm gonna let it play for a second. Actually, I can't. Fuck. 113. How far along are we? Shit, it's a premiere. And let me try pulling it up, see if I can find it. I mean, find where we are.
That the Lord is working for.
It's transcribing right now, so yeah, give it a second. Meanwhile, I'm gonna let this play and I'm gonna move her in there real fast. I'll be back in 1 second.
I see people who are just, well,
you can be candid. Be candid.
yeah, I don't want to give offense.
You want to
but-
offend? Go ahead.
So when I see people who are tatted up and pierced, dog collar, it's like, it's hard for me to not see self-loathing.
But what connection do those folks have to trans folks? I mean, that's a different kind of, I have I have a lot of trans friends. None of them are wearing those things.
Well, I'm glad you're more fortunate. When
Do you have a lot of trans friends who do wear those things?
No, I encounter people out in the community, and I have a pastor's eye, right? And one of the things I can.
Okay, I'm done. I moved her. Wow, this is still transcribing. Shit, I need it to finish transcribing before we can continue. I kind of lost a little bit of the thread on Barry Wunsch because he's so fucking dry. And I saw that people were talking about the conspiracies, the Nazi conspiracies. So I need to step back. I need to step back and actually hear what they're saying. Okay, transcription finished. Let me...
so that, they could control them and they wouldn't.
Can you clarify, is this the same place where there's...
Is this the same place where the... Let me see if I can... Is this the same place where the... I'm going to search the transcript for it. Is this the same place where the phrase... There it is, 45 minutes in. Beautiful. All right. Now we're going to step back a little bit further. Current position. And where is it in the queue? It's still analyzing. It looks like it has a while. So let's step back. We're at 45. Let's go back just a little bit and see.
Sometimes we don't, but anyway, this one, I did feel it was time to release it. And so this one, I'll just say this prophetic encounter opened up with me in a location that seemed to me like it was the most hidden and protected places in the earth.
Okay.
And initially, I was brought, deep underwater, under ice and water, into actually an underwater development of sorts.
Okay.
And I found myself in a large underwater cavern that served as a docking station where submarines could surface and come into this dock, into this cavern that was like an open airlock.
Okay.
And
it feels like he's talking about that old, oh my God, what's the word? Antarctica conspiracy theory about the Nazis, where the Nazis escaped to Antarctica, the northern one. Wait, is that the Arctic and not Antarctica? Well, anyway, they escaped to wherever. I think the North Pole. And built UFOs. They built UFOs in an attempt to spy on people or whatever. Oh, fuck. He's going to get me. He got me. Son of a bitch. That's okay. So that's where all the UFOs came from, was the Nazis in the Arctic. Is that what he's talking about right now?
And so there was submersible craft, there that, like submarine stuff coming in and out. But there was one that I'd never seen anything like it before. And it was kind of in the shape of a triangle.
A craft kind of?
like just a perfect little triangle.
Okay.
And I just knew by the Spirit that this thing could move as fast in the air as it could under the water.
Oh,
I
my
mean,
goodness.
you know, and I mean,
Well,
I don't know.
sort of
So he's telling us about secret technology. I bet they appreciate that.
picturing, I don't know if it's actually a triangle, but you know, I'm not saying it's this, but you know, those B-2, those invisible to radar aircraft that kind of look like a flying wing. That's kind of a triangular shape. Is it? Maybe it's like that, only it's a submersible something.
Yeah, I mean, I never this was like a technology, you know, like I don't think we've seen, and so
These people need fucking help.
so I did know that this was perhaps one of the best kept international secrets, and I knew by the Spirit of God that they'd made discoveries there that had brought knowledge and understanding that when it was released, it was actually probably bend our minds and our understanding, of things, many things.
Okay. In this
Dude's like, okay.
location, you're saying
location. Yeah.
there existed discoveries that had been developed or something, and that someday is going to be released. We'll be able to know about or something.
It was like a base of sorts.
Okay.
This is definitely recycling Nazi conspiracy theories.
Research development, that kind of a thing.
Okay.
And they were working kind of, pushing the very boundaries, but they did come, like they had some stuff they'd found. And they had found, in fact, so it was a hub, where they had scientists and researchers, and they actually found new, like, elements that were new to man.
Really?
That held properties in them for technologies that, we just didn't know existed. And so the discovery of these elements were in the hands, in the right hands would greatly benefit mankind. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
However, at this moment, it didn't appear that they were in the right hands.
Okay, they're in the wrong hands right now.
They were in the wrong.
Right. So the wrong people are controlling these bases and technologies, but we need to take them over for God. Okay.
Wrong hands.
Okay.
And so, they've been intentionally protected, so that, they could control them and they wouldn't.
Can you clarify, is this the same place where there's this underground base in the triangle thing? So you're saying right now the bad guys are there. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And what it seemed to me is the bad guys were there. They were controlling this space. They were controlling this, this technology. They were kind of working on this. And even what they had, it would ruin the medical industry, and it would go far beyond big pharma. And, basically with the safest and most effective natural resources discovered or deployed. And so, and it had these guys around there, and they were like, I'm going to say military contractor types that were protecting them. And
what kind of a fucking delusion?
Kind of managing them. But as I was shown around this facility, and the Lord took me in and around it, there was a whole department that was working with something, and it was the purest of ice. And I mean, it was the most beautiful ice that I'd ever seen.
Okay. Ice is beautiful, huh? All right.
I mean, it was blue. It was the most beautiful blue, kind of translucent, and it almost glowed, and crystal clear. And even out in the
ask you if it looked like crystals or something, but
yeah, I mean, it was just like almost like a gel kind of, but it was solid.
Oh, really?
Okay. And I knew, but it was just so beautiful. And I knew, but even in the open, it really didn't melt. It was kind of wet to the touch and stuff, but it really wasn't.
Is this really the most relevant part of this fucking story? Is this the thing that you've come to tell people on God's behalf about the ice?
Wasn't melting.
Okay.
No.
This is literally recycled Nazi push into archaeology to prove German superiority and how it could be traced back to the Übermensch or the Supermen. This is just that, but with a weird coat of paint. 100%. I agree. Absolutely. There's this book called... Oh, God, I don't remember the name of it. But it's by a guy who called himself Ernst Zundel. Ernst Zundel. It was a fake name. And Ernst Zundel famously broke into Auschwitz, like the gas chambers where the public is not allowed to be, and broke a sample off of the wall and claimed to have tested it and found that there was no Zyklon B on it, trying to prove that it was all fake. It was nonsense. They proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that it absolutely did have the right amount of Zyklon B on it, that it did make sense, and that they did kill people in these gas chambers because he came out with all these claims. Anyway, the point is, Ernst Zundel wrote this book about Nazis in the Arctic. And that is what this guy is recycling right now. He's recycling all of that Nazi garbage. I have that book, actually. 1 second. And I have an app I wrote called BookForge. Do I have Zundel? Yeah, I do. UFO Nazi secret weapon. I'm sorry, UFOs. Nazi secret weapon? I'm going to open it. This is also BookForge. Let me zoom in on this bad boy here. You can just kind of look through here. Let me zoom in all the way. Yeah, it's psychotic. It may be interesting for me to TTS this and give it a listen. Newspapers, clippings, and everything else. Yeah, it's wild. Absolutely wild. Pilot believes he saw a manned spaceship. Ernst Zundel is a pseudonym. It's not a real guy, I believe. Zundel. He's a piece of shit. He was fucking evil.
I knew this was the purest of water, and to me, it just seemed like ancient. And this blue ice was actually living water. And the teams that they had analyzing it, then they were analyzing with everything that they could. They seemed to know that this water actually molecularly, and however that happens, it actually held data. It actually contained history.
Oh, really?
Within the molecules of it.
No, not fucking really. My God, these people are gullible.
But it was quite fascinating. So
I don't know why I find myself actually believing that type of thing would be discovered, but it just kind of makes sense because they're discovering more and more that certain things hold history. I think that's real. I don't know of anything that exists personally like that, but somehow I've heard about things like that.
This is painfully fucking stupid, bro.
Well, I think God, the creator of the universe, I think we've got so much to learn. We're just kind of scratching the surface.
Yeah.
So much to learn.
Do know, this facility, it was super isolated. It was remote. It had the highest level of security and protection. And the thing was that, like I said, it didn't seem like it was ordinary governmental military protection, but it did feel like it was more of these hired guns, high capacity. And I knew like these teams were making a fortune, from the deep state, cabal, Illuminati, guys in whom then what they were.
We got to come up with a good kind of, not acronym, but a word that kind of merges all of that together. Like when they call me a libtard cuckflake, for example, what's the merged word for like cabal Illuminati? The Kabbalanati or something? I don't know. There's something there. Someone finish that for me. All right, so let me tell you guys something. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. This is fucking wild. I wanted to show you guys something really cool that I did. I'm pretty proud of. So I don't know I don't know how many people here are naughty ball. There you go. I don't know how many people here know much about like GPT models or what they are or whatever, but GPT models are basically just matrices. They're three-dimensional matrices, just points. that have different numbers, floating point numbers. So like decimals, they have decimal places at this whole big matrix of numbers. That's it. That's all it is. That's all a GPT model is. Just a bunch of numbers, you know, from 0.00000 16 times to 1. And it's a bunch of numbers through this. They're called tensors. 3-dimensional matrices are tensors. And when you send data through one of these tensor models, it comes out the other side if you have adjusted the numbers just right to get the number or to get the output that you expect. So you say you send the text in, the cat sat on the blank. You send it through, and if you've trained it, and if you have sent the text through the cat sat on the mat a whole bunch of times, then when you send the cat sat on the through, what comes out the other side will be mat, because you adjusted the numbers, these tensors, until the number that comes out the other side represents the word mat. It's really very simple and straightforward. It's just text prediction. That's what these GPT models are, text prediction at their most basic. So anyway, you can have very, very, very large matrices, say 14 billion parameters, just gigantic fucking things that take up like 20 gigs on your hard drive. It's just matrices that have had the entire corpus of Wikipedia sent through and trained on it, pretty much. Well, they also have very tiny ones. They have like 90 megabyte like tensor files, 90 megabyte tensor files that you can send very specific tasks through to do very specific things, and it will get very, very good at that one thing and nothing else. Well, I took this little 90 megabyte tensor file and I tried to train it to recognize categories on like a PDF. So let me show you what I mean. There's this PDF that I have that I scanned in. It's titled Nuremberg, Infamy on Trial. It's a book. It's a book about the Nuremberg trials. Anyway, I sent through this little tiny model, this like 90 megabyte model, correctly categorized stuff. I told it anything above 10% that's very short on a page is probably header data, you know, like the title of the book and the page number. Anything on the bottom 10% is probably the page number. You know, any body, like I defined the body text, I defined footnotes and everything else so that it would get very, very good at recognizing what categories are what. And I just sent my first book through it. And it got it pretty close. It's not ideal. It's not perfect. From the numbers I measured, it's about 78% correct. But that's pretty decent, I figure. It correctly marked this as page header, correctly marked this as body text, correctly marked this as a section heading. Most of the book isn't a problem. This is incorrect. It marked this as a block quote, and this is not a block quote. So there's one little error. The thing I can do to improve it, this tiny little thing, this tensor file, would be get more training data, correctly marked stuff. It looks like I have body text recognition down. I need more quotes because it's not getting quotes correct. And actually, this book doesn't seem to have any footnotes in it. I should run a footnote book through. Here you go. Look, here are some more incorrect things. These are captions. Oh, it got the captions correct. Check that shit out. But it marked this as body text. That's not right. And it marked this as a quote. That's also not right. These are captions. I should run this book through as training data. It got these correct. These are captions. It's pretty fucking good. I'm actually impressed, all things considered. I think I just need more training data, and I'll be good. What's this? Ooh, that's not good. It marked subheading and quote right in the middle of body text. Damn. Well, I got some work to do, but I'm very impressed with it, actually. Not bad. Whenever I hear any of these nut jobs say the Lord, I think they mean the Dark Lord because of how Christ teaches love and other positive things, but these guys and other nut jobs talk nothing but hate and their negative and other negative things. Yeah, absolutely. They do not represent Jesus in any way, shape, or form, or Jesus' teachings. They do not reflect Jesus' teachings at all. And how they arrive at their conclusions kind of blows me away, honestly. Neural connection weights, yes. That's what those are, neural connection weights. It's just a giant file with literally billions of floating point numbers that are connected to each other, tensors. And when you send data through, however you, or whatever data you sent through and told it right or wrong, those numbers are adjusted slightly. It's an emergent property, and it's fascinating. It's an emergent property of math, and I really appreciate how that works. Kind of concentration, that's the point where you see me looking off into the distance daydreaming. Anyway, yeah, check that shit out. It got some quotes right. I still have work to do, but that's pretty good. I'm impressed. Duly impressed. All right, let's continue with him, actually. I was going to stop, but I think I would like to continue a bit. No, I'm going to call him there. Anyway, tell me what you think about him in the comments. That's wild, dude. Wild. All right, how long is this? This is 36 minutes? Yeah, let's watch this whole thing.
Can identify and see. And
this is Doug Wilson. He is Pete Hegseth's pastor. Let's give this a listen. He's about to tell us what he thinks of being gay and whether it should be legal. Spoiler alert, the answer is no. He doesn't think it should be legal.
which is the art of the possible. You know, what proposals am I proposing right now? And secondly, what is my sketch of an ideal Christian republic 250 years from now? Those are two separate things.
Even if it's 250 years from now, what specifically do you mean by that? Like, what becomes illegal when it comes to sodomy laws?
I would regard sodomy as male-to-male intercourse, anal intercourse, or oral intercourse.
Boy, he's getting specific on this one.
Would hand jobs count, or just anal and oral?
Okay, he's messing with him, right? This is a podcast called Uncloseted, apparently. He's totally messing with him.
Between two men. Yes.
Between two men. Yeah. Right. Hand jobs as well.
Hand jobs, oral sex, and anal intercourse.
Got it.
Would be sodomy.
Oh boy. Okay.
In the old order, the legal definitions of sodomy would have included oral foreplay between a married heterosexual couple.
Right. That's what sodomy actually means. It means any activity not intended to produce a baby. It legally, to my understanding. I could be wrong. You don't want to verify that. But in the law, that's what I believe it means. That's pretty broad. And it doesn't just apply to gay people either, although it was historically only ever applied to gay people.
So I think that there were definitions of sodomy that went beyond Scripture.
So you're okay with heterosexual people and oral foreplay or those sorts of things if they're married? Yeah. Got it. And then what about women on women lovers? Like is oral sex okay for them under these laws or no?
Right, because the Bible very specifically does not demonize lesbians, right? It's only gay dudes to any degree. And I argue it doesn't demonize gay dudes even.
Well, okay is too loosey. So
yeah, but would you, in your ideal world, 250 years from now, would that be illegal across all 50 states?
No, and this is going to.
What? Wait a minute. It would be illegal for two dudes to be gay, but it wouldn't be illegal for two women to be gay. Interesting. Okay, go on.
This is going to be interesting because I'm a Bible guy. If you go through the law of Moses, you won't find any legal prescription of lesbianism. This brings us up against the difference between a sin and a crime. There are things that are manifestly sinful for every Bible-believing Christian, which I believe ought not to be criminal. You don't have any penalty in the Old Testament attached to lesbian behavior. It would have been considered a sin, a form of sexual immorality, but not criminal.
Would it? Would it be a sin? How do you know that? Because the Jewish community, who has interpreted these laws and cultural expectations for thousands of years, doesn't have a problem with people being gay. You are now the arbiter of their cultural, of their culture, I guess you could say. You're the one who decides what their culture should be. They're incorrect about it.
Got it. So then in your ideal world, gay men engaging in sexual behavior would be illegal under sodomy laws across all 50 states. You've mentioned, though, that you wouldn't want it to be too heavily enforced because you don't want to create a, quote, sexual Gestapo. So how exactly would this be enforced?
I mean, look, he can say that, but that's complete nonsense. He does want... Wait, I'm sorry. He does want a Gestapo. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm looking for something specific here. Can't find it.
Yeah.
Hang on. Doug Wilson.
I have
got a
You know, if we're
This is it right here. I think.
You know, if we're trying to
yeah. Rename. Yeah. Check this out. This is him just with friends explaining how he feels about things.
You know, if we're trying to establish a Christian country, should we have our borders open or allow Muslims to come in and live in a country that's distinctly Christian?
I would say no in any kind of significant number because it's the problem of assimilation. So if in a Christian republic could a Muslim come and visit Disneyland? You know, well, sure. But in a Christian republic, there might not be a Disneyland.
There might not be a Disneyland in a Christian republic. When he's talking to his friends, he gets extreme. There's this concept that exists. I don't know that there's an official term for it. Maybe I'm the one who came up with it. I don't know. I've never heard it elsewhere. I'm sure it probably exists in some books, but this is what the Nazis did, and this is what other extremist groups have always done. It's not just the Nazis. That's just a plain example. It's every extremist group in history. They know they cannot get the public on their side if they reveal how extreme their positions really are. So when they go out there and talk to the public, they try to dumb it down. They try to make it simpler, more straightforward, and give honest answers for let me rephrase, not honest answers, and give straightforward answers that are not as extreme as they really believe. Because they know if they give the honest version of what they believe, they won't get support. So what Doug Wilson does when he comes out here is he says, I'm not that close to Pete Hegseth. He said that at the beginning. I cut it out because it's irrelevant. I don't want to ban gay people outright. I mean, I think it should be the law, but, you know, I don't want a sexual Gestapo. He's pretending to not be as extreme as he genuinely is because he knows that people don't like that. They don't want that, and it's way too over the top. So he dumbs it down, and he takes it easy and slow when he goes on public programs, and he says, yeah, you know, I don't want a sexual Gestapo or anything. When he's with his friends, in front of his own audience, he says, there would be no Disneyland. I would ban Disneyland. I would shut down Disney by force. And people wouldn't be allowed to go visit a theme park in my ideal world. This is how the Nazis did it. This is how every extremist movement has always done it throughout history. They can't be canceled by their own people unless they go too far left. But they know they can be canceled by normal human beings who aren't extreme and out of their fucking gourds. So they sit in the middle when they're talking to the public. And they go as far right as they want when they're in front of everybody else.
Well, I would say that the main enforcement mechanism would be social expectations and a withholding of societal approval. It would be sort of back in the closet, boys, sort of thing. Not because of fear of legal retribution, but because this is simply not done.
But that's different than what you've said in the past. You said sodomy laws, right? So would it be illegal? Or
yeah, the answer is yes. Yes, it would be illegal in his perfect world, obviously. If he says anything else, he's lying. He's talking to a general audience and trying to dumb it down and keep it simple and make people feel like he's not as extreme as he is because he doesn't want them to fear him. If people fear him, he will lose political power.
Or are you kind of walking back that? So then,
no, I'm not walking it back.
Okay.
I think it ought to be the society needs to express its disapproval of this behavior in law, right?
So then if it's a law, what's the punishment if somebody makes that act, which would be illegal? What would the punishment be?
So the punishment would vary.
Death. It's death. The punishment is death. He wants people dead if they're gay. You know how I know that? Because that's what he believes the Bible says. He's said as much, plainly. His movement cannot survive without lies, which, by the way, is against the Ten Commandments, just sticking it out there.
Reluctant to give the government excess powers of invading private homes.
Okay. So just theoretically, I get caught having sex with my boyfriend. What happens to me? What is the punishment?
In the 1980s, it was a movement called Christian Reconstruction. And the Christian Reconstructionists wanted to take the Old Testament law sort of with a grappling hook and bring it over and drop it down on modern society. And that would mean the maximum penalty there for homosexual behavior would be execution. And so there were debates among the Reconstructionists of, do we have to stone the homosexuals? And there were some people saying, well, firing squads are okay because they're throwing very tiny stones at a high rate of speed, but they were talking about execution. In that debate.
Wait, so they've come up with an excuse to claim that firing squad is stoning? Firing squad is modern stoning. Okay, wow.
Back then, I pointed out that King Asa and King Jehoshaphat in the Old Testament closed the bathhouses and they exiled the Sodomites from the land. And their behavior is praised in the text. So that told me that execution, although a lawful penalty for homosexual behavior, was not the minimum penalty, it was the maximum penalty.
And do you believe that still, that in your eyes, the maximum penalty for homosexual behavior in an ideal world, in Pastor Wilson's ideal world, would be execution?
Yeah.
You do?
There you go. When pinned down, I guess he feels he needs to say yes.
Yeah. If you ask me, could you ever envision a homosexual crime of any nature being visited with the death penalty? Yes, I could.
You, in other words, want to create a law where, a real law in this country eventually, where the maximum penalty for me having sex with my boyfriend would be my execution. I just want to make sure that's clear.
No. That's why I wanted to finish this scenario.
Oh, fucking please. No, you're misinterpreting what I'm saying. You're misunderstanding. It's your fault.
I do want to create a society where the maximum penalty for a Roman Catholic priest molesting or raping an altar boy is solved and addressed with a tall tree and a short rope.
Okay, that's an old trope, an old racist trope, tall tree, short rope. But okay, he's talking about people taking advantage of children. That's not being gay. Being gay and taking advantage of children, two completely different things, not related to each other in any way, shape, or form.
Right, that's pedophilia, though, which is, of course, different than homosexuality.
Well, it's a species of homosexual behavior.
It's a species of homosexual behavior. So pedophilia is gay adjacent, is what he's saying. No, it's not. The only people who confuse the two are scumbag pieces of shit who don't seem to understand like anything about how anything works.
So let's say it's a Roman Catholic priest and a 15-year-old boy, or there's all kinds of variations of human behavior, but there are homosexual crimes that I would want, that are egregious enough that I would want to execute the person for.
So you see pedophilia as an element of homosexuality, is that right?
Yeah, if we're talking about the alphabet people.
Oh boy.
Right?
You're referencing LGBTQ community?
LGBTQ plus. What's under the plus?
IAQ, questioning, intersex, asexual. He's implying that pedophilia is under there. It's not. That's not in the plus. Nobody adds the plus. I'm sorry. Nobody adds pedophilia to the plus. This is propaganda brain rot, where he doesn't understand what he doesn't understand and is convinced that people to the left of hunting the homeless for sport actually stand for taking advantage of children.
What's
under the plus? Not pedophilia. Would you consider adding a P? Do you think a P is meant under that umbrella of LGBTQ?
Absolutely.
You do, because you conflate lesbians and gay people with like kind of akin to pedophiles, people who rape children.
I don't think that I'm making that association.
No, you're not. You're literally sitting here making that association.
I think the
like nobody brought that association in, except for him.
LGBTQ plus acronym, that whole chain is sort of a sexual alliance of people who are defying traditional biblical norms.
No, but even if that were the case, what does that have to do with with taking advantage of children? I'm fucking lost.
And pedophilia is one of those things that defies those norms.
Do you see like two men having sex as equally sinful as a man raping a girl?
Yeah, they're both violations of God's law.
obviously, if you're seeing both of these as sinful, pedophilia and homosexuality, this is a very big concern for you, I would imagine, in society, right? So
Correct.
I wanted to ask, like, in March, I'm sure you've been following this, the Supreme Court overturned Colorado's ban on conversion therapy. And you've called Canada's conversion therapy ban a, quote, wretched and misbegotten law. What in your church, right, as the lead pastor, if somebody comes to you saying, I'm attracted to the same sex, should they be allowed to go through conversion therapy? And if so, what is the most effective form of conversion therapy in your eyes?
I'm a pastor of hundreds of people, and I'm a pastor to people whose sexual temptations are homosexual. I've counseled people in that position and have seen them arrive at victory over those temptations.
I see it based on the science and, methodologically sound evidence-based research as a discredited practice. But I want
It absolutely is discredited. It doesn't work. It doesn't do what they think it does or what they're trying to accomplish or whatever.
to know from your perspective what works.
So what works is Jesus Christ. So Jesus Christ forgives.
That means fucking nothing. What do you expect people to do with that? Jesus Christ. Oh, fantastic. What works is Jesus Christ. Great. We're there. Now what?
Sin, and Jesus Christ empowers us to overcome sin.
In layman's terms, if you can, right? Are you just saying pray? Or is there more to it? Like, what else? Do you give them assignments? Do you give them homework? Are there things they need to do? Or is it simply just pray, 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 pray?
Yeah, it would be easy to sort of dismiss what I'm saying as sort of pray the gay away. So when...
It would be easy to dismiss because that's exactly what he's saying.
When I'm counseling someone who is struggling with this and wants out, one of the places I start is with that person's relationship with his father, that person's relationship with his mother.
Fucking please, dude. Yeah, bad relationship with his father is what caused him to be gay. Totally.
That person's upbringing. Do you have a healthy relationship with your father? Do you hate your mother? It's not like, what do you do when you're horny? If you just start there, you're healing the wound lightly, basically.
Have you ever experienced same-sex attraction?
No.
Never.
No.
No.
Oh my God.
Got it.
Wow, that was rough. Yeah. Interesting to call him on it like that. It was pretty good.
And so when they come, right? If say somebody comes to you and says, Pastor Wilson, I am
okay, he did that on purpose, right?
Experiencing this, and I love your church, but I'm happy. I have a boyfriend. Do they stay in the church, or what happens?
Such a person would not be allowed to become a member.
Okay.
Okay. But such a person would be welcome to attend as often as they wanted. You're welcome to attend, but if you were a member, there's a commitment to becoming a member, and that commitment means living as a Christian is obligated by the Bible to live.
Got it. And okay, so Obergefell.
It feels like if it were really that important, Jesus would have said something about it, anything about it, right? You know there were gay people around at the time. There were absolutely gay people around. Some may argue Jesus himself was gay.
Yes, I know you wanted to talk about that because you said in the here and now, that's something that you would want overturned.
One of the reasons I would go to Obergefell,
which is the Supreme Court ruling that allowed gay marriage.
One of the action points is I think that is actually a possibility. Just like Roe was overturned, I think Obergefell could be overturned, and it might be a matter of as few as 2 Supreme Court justices.
When you're in D.C. or when you're, helping with prayer with Hegseth or other folks in the administration, are there rumblings that there's possibility that that's within reach?
Yeah, I've not had any conversations like that with administration officials.
I don't believe you.
But I have certainly written a lot about it, and I know that I'm read by people in powerful places.
Of course, because if they align with you ideologically, then they must want that too, I would imagine, if they share the same belief systems as you know.
They absolutely do. Pete Hegseth absolutely wants to undo gay marriage and all of the other right-wing extremist fucking nutcases in government. Yes, obviously. But for some reason, that's not like on the chopping block at the moment in the public sphere. No one is really talking about that heavily at the moment. Give it time, though. It's only a matter of time.
I'm not plotting with administration officials to make a move on Obergefell, but I am very vocal about it. So I think repealing Obergefell is an attainable goal in our current climate.
When it comes to the legal issue behind it, what would be the kind of roadmap to overturn it?
I think there'd have to be an increased number of conservative Christians in the Senate. You would have to have trained, capable judges who were evangelical Christians who had been operating at lower courts, who were in a position to be nominated to that position and survive the character assassination battle. Before Senate confirmation hearings were all about abortion. I think the next...
So he wants it to be all about gay marriage. Interesting.
Ones will be about Obergefell.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I think that is going to be the issue. And so if you have more Christians in the Senate, if you have Christian men nominated, and the Senate has the kind of people who don't fold under pressure, then it is a doable thing.
All an interesting perspective. You've spoken less about transgender people.
Yeah.
I want to know your thoughts. What, in your ideal world, what would happen to people who are trans? Do they have a place in society? What's your...
Well, of course he views trans people as like mentally ill, right? That's what he's going to say.
view?
Yeah, this is no way to talk about it without talking about it. I think transgenderism...
What the fuck does that mean?
...is simply sad. I don't think that it should be elevated to a category, given equal carved out rights. I think they should be treated with love and compassion and help and counseling.
About 1% of the population identifies as trans, and the vast majority of those people, once they, get past stigma, live their lives healthily and happily. So I'm unclear what your issue is with it.
The man is the image and glory of God, and the woman is the glory of the man. I believe God created us in such a way as to reflect his glory. And the transsexual movement, I think, is a...
Transgender, but okay.
Is a movement away from that glory. And so when I see people who are just, well...
you can be candid. Be candid.
Yeah, I don't want to give offense.
You want to offend? Go ahead.
So when I see people who are tatted up and pierced, dog collar, it's like, it's hard.
What people is he referring to here? Tatted up, dog collar? You mean when you see people with individuality? When you see people expressing themselves, that pisses you off? Is that what he's saying?
Hard for me to not see self-loathing.
But what connection do those folks have to trans folks? I mean, that's a different kind of, I have a lot of trans friends. None of them are wearing those things.
Well, I'm glad you're more fortunate. When
no, see, here's the problem. This is the issue. He's viewing trans people as a caricature of what they actually are. That's what's happening. He views trans people as a caricature. He doesn't seem to understand. He's not connecting the dots that there are tons of regular people out there who are just living their lives in a way that he doesn't like or understand, and it's that simple.
When
do you have a lot of trans friends who do wear those things?
No, I have. I encounter people out in the
No, you don't. You do not encounter people who do that. Okay? Are there people who do that? Absolutely. Do you encounter them? No.
Community, and I have a pastor's eye, right? And
you have a pastor's eye, right? So your intuition is just telling you it's true. It has to be. Haven't seen it, but I know it's true. I just know it is. This stereotyping is fucking wild on this dude.
One of the things I can identify and see and greatly sympathize with is people who are miserable and they're trying to, maybe this will work. Maybe this will give me a sense of who I really am.
Do you think trans people are dangerous? I mean, Trump recently included radical transgender folks in his counterterrorism strategy. Do you have concern there?
We've seen many instances of transsexual violence over the last few years. That does.
We have? What instances are you talking about? What are you fucking smoking? No, we haven't. He's once again showing us that he has this understanding that he developed from right-wing extremist media. This is entirely from right-wing media. This framing that trans people are responsible for school shootings is not true. This is absolute. This isn't even delusion. It's lies. It's intentional lies.
Doesn't mean that all transsexuals are violent, but a disproportionate number of the violent episodes are coming from transsexual.
No, they're not. And again, it's transgender or just trans. You could just say trans. Why do you keep saying that?
Individuals.
And I think a lot of the, data that actually shows when you look at things like school shootings, that a disproportionate number of cisgender people are perpetrating those. Actually, white cisgender men are the most common and disproportionately more likely, even when you break it down per percentage of the population. Obviously,
Yeah, absolutely. That's correct. The trans community is less likely to do something psychotic, significantly less likely than anybody, white men especially. That's the majority of who's doing all of these attacks. But does that matter to Doug Wilson? Absolutely not. Facts don't matter to this dude. His feelings matter.
An LGBTQ publication, but we do stories on women too, right? And you've been in the news for your belief systems around women. I want to know, just more generally, what role do women have in society for you? In your world, should they be allowed to be anything they want? Doctors, lawyers, should they?
No, he's made this pretty clear. He says only women, or only childbearing. That's pretty much their only role, childbearing. They're not useful for anything else. And I have a video of that, actually. Hold on. Well, I can't find the specific video. Is this it?
Women are the
What's up?
kind of people.
Here you go. This is it.
Women are the kind of people that
What? Hurry up.
people.
I got a haircut. Very short haircut. Okay, bye.
All right. Love you. You see Steven Anderson's new post on X today? He was going hard at Miriam. What? No, I did not see that shit. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's pull this puppy up. Let's look at this bad boy. Here, check this shit out. Steven Anderson, actual image of my dad teaching me about sodomites when I was a kid. Son, it's the final stage of human depravity. Wow, knock me over with a feather. Your dad was a fucking psycho? Wow. What's this? Oh no, Steven Anderson is going at his daughter Miriam again. If you don't know this saga, I'll explain in a minute. If you don't know the saga, I'll explain more in a minute. But bottom line, his daughter went to stay with her uncle, Steven Anderson's brother, for like the summer, and she didn't want to come back because he's insane and violent and dangerous. And he doxed his brother and just was absolutely psychotic and evil. Hold on. And so his children, his 4 adult children, blew the lid off of everything and exposed him as an abuser, a child and a wife abuser. A child and a wife abuser, which disqualifies him as a pastor. And like a bunch of people left his church as a result because he doesn't have his household in order or whatever. So now he's releasing a new video from his daughter Miriam. Let's see what he said here. Hold on. Why is this not playing?
Miriam.
Here we go.
Hey everybody, Pastor Stephen Anderson here from Faith Forward Baptist Church in Phoenix, Arizona. So Miriam calls me up last night at 11 o'clock at night to falsely accuse one of my church members. And this just goes to show another example of how she will just make brazen false accusations.
Holy shit, dude. Your daughter told you somebody, what? I don't even know what the accusation is. Hurt her in some way? And you're not listening?
That are not even based on a kernel of truth, that are just completely fabricated and have no basis in reality whatsoever. So she calls up and says, oh, I just called CPS on you guys again, and the police are coming, and, and she names this church member and says, oh, he's been spying on you, and he's been collecting evidence of your child abuse, and you're so effed, and you're finally going to get what you deserve, whatever. And, I'm thinking to myself, well, I already know that this is a lie because you can't collect evidence of something that doesn't exist, right?
Okay, well, he admitted to doing quote-unquote spousal discipline, a.k.a. beating the shit out of his wife with an extension cord. Literally. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not making that shit up. He really admits to that. Okay, that is abuse. I know you don't see it that way, Steven Anderson, but it is. It is abuse. And yes, he did use the extension cord on his children. 4 of his adult children came out and explained how he did it and what he did and everything, and they all corroborated and all of it. He's absolutely abusive to his wife and his children. Now, he may not interpret what he does, hitting them with an extension cord, as abuse, but it is. It is abuse.
Can't be evidence of things that didn't happen. And so she makes this wild and brazen accusation. And, people need to understand that there are biblical principles when it comes to justice. And here's one of them. A faithful witness will not lie, but a false witness will utter lies. Someone who already has a track record for brazenly lying and making false accusations, you should not listen to that person at all. She has zero credibility, less than zero credibility. And the Bible says, a wicked doer giveth heed to false lips, and a liar giveth ear to a naughty tongue.
Wow. So he's found a way to disregard her testimony because he doesn't like what she said. He has categorized her as a liar, even though what she said has been true and corroborated by multiple witnesses, which, by the way, is the bar in the Bible for believing somebody. You should believe them if 2 or more witnesses come out and corroborate their story, and 2 or more witnesses have. His son Isaac, his son Solomon, his son John, all corroborate his daughter Miriam's account of what happened, of what he does, of how he hurts his family, of what he does to them, of his vile fucking behavior. That's what really did him in, not the accusation, but the corroboration between 4 different witnesses. Not 2, the moral requirement, not 3, but 4. And then he admitted to what he did. Then he said, what I do with my wife, spousal discipline, in our bedroom is my business. That's what he said. Quote unquote. Could it be clearer? Could it be any clearer that he absolutely does hurt his children and his wife, who unfortunately sides with him here and says what they do is not abuse?
And so, of course, what she's saying is totally false. And in fact, this person that she's talking about, she's had no contact with this guy ever since all this drama has happened. So what over a year, she's had zero contact with the guy, but then she just makes up this bizarre railing accusation that this guy has supposedly been colluding with her. And the reason that she obviously picked this guy is just because she knows that he's a friend of our family and that he's a frequent dinner guest in our home. And so, what does the Bible say? A froward man soweth strife, and a whisperer separateth chief friends. The Bible says, these 6 things does the Lord hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. A false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren are on the list. And so,
Right, so he's trying to discredit her as a witness to the crime that he committed of abusing his children by pointing out all the bad things that she's done in her life, or claiming that she's untrustworthy or whatever. This is a perfect example of how people can and do use the Bible to justify atrocities.
When accusations come from these kind of people, they should be rejected out of hand. And so, it's just part of the reason I'm bringing this up too is because, if she goes and tries to make this accusation to other people in the church, I don't want this guy's name to be dragged through the mud, or people thinking, oh man, I wonder if that's true. I wonder if that's really happening. Because again, when you look at the source, it should be completely rejected out of hand. So no, I'm not going to believe anything that this person has to say.
Jesus Christ.
I'm going to believe zero. I'd rather believe my brother in Christ at church. God bless you. Have a great day.
Wow, dude. He can, if you don't know, let me just lay down the saga for you a little bit more if you haven't been following. Steven Anderson sent Miriam to his brother Cliff's house just for the summer or whatever. And then she accused him. And then Steven Anderson starts doxing Cliff to his congregation, destroying his reputation, saying that he's like an evildoer. He put his address on Facebook for his audience to find and fucking harass. I mean, psychotic shit. I gotta grab this video. Did I already grab this? Hold on. I'm not sure I grabbed this. Having trouble with this. I'm sorry. Having trouble grabbing this video. Weird. Yeah, I'm having trouble grabbing this. If one man sin against another, the judge shall judge him. But if the man sin against the Lord, who shall entreat for him? Notwithstanding, they hearkened not unto the voice of their father, because the Lord would slay them. So basically him posting that means it doesn't matter what I do to other people. If I beat my children, it's not a big deal because God... I can't sin against God. I can sin against other people, but not against God. The shadow of slander, decoding rail. Okay. Early use and deception. Explicit pairing with false oaths, deceptive claims about gold. What the fuck? Shakespeare's 12... What is this? What the hell am I even looking at? I don't understand what, He's saying he's being slandered, but what is this gigantic, bizarre picture? My son, be wise and make my heart glad, that I may answer him that reproacheth me. What is this?
Music industry in Hollywood.
OMFG, dude. I gotta grab this.
Hollywood and whatever. But then he's also got people that are basically undercover, that are infiltrating, privily bringing in damnable heresies, denying even the Lord that bought them. And so, like you said, nobody's going to go through 4 years of college or, 6 years of training, including seminary, to get these seminary degrees and to be pastoring churches and running Bible colleges. And they haven't ever heard of like faith alone.
Oh, that's wild. I got to cover this. I got to cover more of this. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. Insane. All right, I actually have to get out of here. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It's been fun. I will see you guys tomorrow, hopefully on time this time. We had to get my kid's birth certificate today, and it was a big problem. So, all right, I'll see you guys.